Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another Wealth Wednesday with April Joy of Alla Joy and Associates, where our mission is faith, family, and freedom through every interaction with financial education. On today, whether your goal is buying your first home, getting out of debt, protecting your family, or simply learning how to make your money work for you, you are in the right place. Tonight, we're talking about something that doesn't get enough attention until it's too late. I know that those of you that were with me on last week, we went over budgeting. We also went over some goals for the next month. And so I hope that you guys are making some progress on that. And we'll definitely touch base, after our month to see where everyone is. I am also doing the same thing as well. But like I said, tonight we're talking about something that doesn't get a lot of attention, but is definitely needed. But usually we don't think about it until it's too late. And that is emergency funds. So of course we know that life happens, cars break down, jobs change, children get sick, air conditioners stop working. The question isn't if something is going to happen, it's when. Because at some point, something is going to happen and it's going to be an emergency, but you would much rather it just be an inconvenience, as I've said before. So will your finances be ready when it does? When it happens, not if, when will your finances be ready? And so we're going to talk tonight about some things that you can start considering and doing to help build that emergency fund. So I'm going to explain a little bit. An emergency fund is money set aside only for true emergencies. And those examples are a job loss, medical bills, car repairs, home repairs, unexpected travel for family emergencies. So these are things that don't have anything that you would do with your normal day-to-day life as you pay your bills and take care of your business. This is those one-offs that happen where the car breaks down, where someone loses their job, when there's some, emergency with your family and you just have to go. There is no, well, I'll wait, next week. I'll try to get the money here and there. I'll work a couple extra hours or extra shifts. This has to happen and we need you potentially right this moment. What are not emergencies, right? Black Friday sales, vacation, even though we know that sometimes a vacation or just a break feels like an emergency. Right now we're talking about financial emergencies that would affect and uproot your regular finances. A new phone is not an emergency. Eating out is not an emergency. So what is the last unexpected expense that caught you off guard? I know for me, it's definitely been car. Over the last year, I've had several things happen with my car where I've had to get it towed, where I've had to be out of commission for a while needing to get it fixed and giving the mechanic, time to fix it, right? So that's like an emergency because we have to get back and forth. We have to be able to take care of our business and we need those things. Yes, car repair for sure. So why most families stay stressed? Many people don't have financial problems because they don't earn enough. Many have financial problems because very unexpected expense becomes a crisis. Like I said, the same situation can happen when you're not prepared and it's a big catastrophic event, right? And then when you are prepared, you're going to be inconvenienced and you may have to spend money to get your car fixed, to get a new air condition, but at least you have the funds. And so it doesn't disrupt your day to day on what you normally pay money for, pay your bills, things like that. But without savings, people often use their credit cards. They borrow money, take payday loans, and delay paying regular bills, right? Trying to juggle it all when you don't have the savings can leave you in a deficit and trying to figure out which one to pay more first, especially if, like it says, credit cards or payday loans. All of those come with interest, come with extra fees that you have to make sure you pay. So now you have this other thing that you have to get paid for every month or however long it takes you to get it taken care of, which may disrupt something else that you have going on. Each emergency creates another financial setback when you aren't prepared. Like I said, your car goes down and now you need to spend $1,000 on that car repair that you did not have in the savings. And so now you're trying to pull from different things that you would normally use that money for to make sure that you have your car so that you can go to work, et cetera, right? And emergency funds interrupts that cycle. So we're going to start with like, how much should you save? It doesn't have to be dramatic. It doesn't have to be like, I've got to save $1 million. You know, sometimes we overextend even the ideas of what little changes and little things we can do to save our money. So we're going to start with like a baby emergency fund, and that's generally between $500 and $1,000. Now that could help you with a car repair or, you know, something like that wouldn't cost as much. Right. Miss Felicia says title pawn is another example of a way people get emergency money. That's not a good idea. Right. Because they charge ridiculous amounts of interest, ridiculous fees. And a lot of times it just doesn't even, it almost makes no sense to keep the car by the time you've paid them $4,000 or $5,000 for maybe a $1,500 loan to get your car fixed. Now you're paying a whole nother car payment that you didn't even have prior to. So we have to be mindful. And of course, in life, we sometimes make those decisions because it's an emergency. And in emergency situations, sometimes we're not thinking as clearly and we're just trying to get it done as soon as possible. And so that runs us into different things. The next one, after you start that first baby emergency fund, you want to do 3 to 6 months of expenses. If you're self-employed, you want to do 6 to 12 months worth of expenses saved. So don't become discouraged thinking that you have to have thousands overnight. Your first goal can simply be save my first $500. And there's no real way for us to tell you what works best for your budget. It's the same thing as when we talked about your credit. We would love for you guys to be able to spend an extra $100 a month to help knock down some of those expenses that you have. However, if all you have is 50 or 25, you start with what you have and you work your way up, and eventually some things will work out to where you have that extra savings where you can pull another $100 as you eliminate expenses that you may be, using on a day-to-day basis. So some practical tips is save automatically. Sometimes if we don't even think about it and it's in another account that's not easily accessible, it's easier to save. When we have it in an account that we can just swap back and forth, or we can just pull it back out, or we got it in a shoebox in the room, we'll go to, I'll just put that back. And before you know it, those 20s, 10s that you're taking out here or there have added up to $150 that's out of your savings that now you want to maintain. So now you're like, I got to get this other extra $150, and you go back into that same cycle. Save your tax returns. And this is pretty much because a lot of people don't get tax refunds, right? But any additional bonuses, any additional money that you just happen to get that you were not expecting, just go on and put it away, because you weren't expecting to spend that on anything anyway, right? Unless you're in the middle of some sort of, emergency at that time. Then, of course, if that will help you get out of it, then, do that. But if you get a tax refund, that's unexpected money, we expect it because we're like ready for it. But in general, it's not something that we know exactly how much it's going to be the next year, because things change with the IRS, with the amount of taxes and things like that. So you want to make sure you consider those things. Reduce eating out for 1 month. And that was a part of what we talked about last month is, make a decision to stop doing something that you're spending money on every week. Whether that be, like I mentioned, Starbucks, whether that be, going to Panera Bread at work, or stopping by Chick-fil-A for breakfast. Like, eliminate one of those things every month, and you'll see how much that adds up. Sell any unused items. I was watching something the other day where it was just talking about, if it isn't a heck yes, it's a heck no. Okay. So if you have something that has, I might use it, I might wear it, I might, maybe I'm holding it in case, you don't need it. And if you can get in extra income and put that towards your savings, towards your baby, emergency fund, towards your 3 to 6 months of expenses fund, then that's a benefit. Having something that you might use, that typically a lot of times when we might We've never. It just sits there collecting dust. And by the time you're ready to use it, it's not of good use anymore. So we just have to be mindful of that. Pick up temporary side income. You know, I know we're in a world where we work, and none of us are trying to work a whole lot extra. But if you're trying to get into a position, as I've talked about with last week, talking about, clearing up your debt, and we're also talking now, of course, about saving for the future, whether that, like I said, is home ownership, whether that's just to reduce your debt, whether that's just to make sure that you could take 6 months off, at a certain point in your life. You turn 50 and you was like, you know what, I just want to be off for a whole month. You need that extra money, whatever that is a part of your saving for the future, allowing you to do things that you would like to do in the future. Start now. So if that means picking up an extra, shift a week, or 2 shifts a month, or whatever that looks like, consider it, so that you can have the additional income that can just solely be put to the side in case of some sort of emergency. I want to challenge everyone, and I'm challenging myself, right? Can you save $20 each week? And literally, that's almost one meal, depending on where you go, because around, these days, a lot of meals are $10 to $15 average. So one meal, 1 week, $20. And that $20, of course, in a month will be about $80. And that would be nearly $1,000 in 1 year. And I know $1,000 doesn't seem like a lot of money. But again, if your car broke down, once you get close to that year, all you have to do is reach over there. Oh, it's going to cost $600. I'll just get it from over there. As opposed to, again, creating this whole segment of your life where you're taking from what you have to try to get it fixed. And now you're trying to pay it back to yourself and make sure the bills are paid, and create a lot of additional stress. Small, consistent habits create meaningful progress. So, of course, me being an insurance agent as well as a realtor, I'm going to talk to you about how that connects to home ownership. This, when preparing to buy a home, lenders look at more than income. Okay, so they're not just looking at what your income is, because you may have to pay a down payment. They want to see, is this person able to make this payment? Is this person able to sustain their lifestyle? If you already have a car, if you already have whatever other payments that you have coming out, are they able to consider how much income, your savings that you have, if something, you need to pay more for down payment or more for something to be done in the house when you move in for it to be move-in ready. Whatever that looks at, they look at the whole picture. That even involves your credit, right? So we talked a little bit about paying down your debt. They're looking at all of these things. If you're able to add that extra $100 towards paying off your debt, or again, if all you have is 25 or 50, whatever that looks like, start making those small changes that will help you in the long run. And you'd be amazed at how quickly putting those habits into place will allow you to grow your savings, clear up your debt, and be in a position to purchase a home, purchase a new car, whatever it is that you're aspiring to do. Put money down, get a loan for a business or some type of investment. If you consistently make these small changes over time, you'll see a lot of progress in your financial day-to-day. And then those habits that you create, as you earn more, as you grow, you'll know how to utilize the money properly to the best of your ability, right? Because owning a home also means being ready for unexpected repairs. If you buy a home that was built in 1960, there may be some repairs that are going to come up in the length of time that you own that home. And again, that is extra. That is above what you're paying for your mortgage. That's above what you're paying for your car note, phones, things like that. So you want to have that emergency fund that will allow you to take care of if you need a new roof, right? If you need to paint the outside or the inside, or get, the driveway fixed, or, new windows. Again, all we're doing is trying to help you prepare for the things that happen in your day-to-day life, things that are unexpected, that you're just riding down the road and you have a blowout and something happens to the rim of your tire. Now you need another rim. These may be small things, but again, depending on if you're prepared, whether it's an inconvenience or a chaotic emergency, right? So emergency funds help you become stronger homeowner before and after closing. That makes sure that you have money. Like, I've got enough to pay my down payment to get me in this house. But then if within 6 months, I need another water heater, I don't have anything to take care of that. And again, I'm putting myself in a financial strain and burden that I may not if I go ahead and get started saving even minimally $20 a week, $80 a month. That starts somewhere, right? And then you just remember to go back to your budget. Go back to, okay, I paid off these 3 things on my credit, but now I've got this $1,000 in the bank. Since I've paid off this, now I have an additional, $50. I'm going to put an extra $50 in my account every month. You keep reevaluating to see how you can grow in those areas and be able to take care of what you need to. So emergency savings and insurance are partners, not substitutes. So savings help with deductibles, smaller unexpected expenses, and temporary income disruptions. So, of course, me talking about some of the insurance policies where you're able to have critical illness, cancer coverage, money, cash value that you can pull out if something was to happen to you, so that, again, you're not in a position where you're scrambling to pay your bills, where not only are you trying to be physically healthy, but now you're emotionally stressed and strained trying to make sure that your kids eat and that the bills are still paid, right? So these things all go in tandem together to help you be and have wealth. And that's one of the reasons for Wealth Wednesday, right? So that we could talk about all things wealth, how to come out of a hole you may be in. And it's okay. We have all been there. Even the most, successful people may have come from very little, money, right? I work, I get paid, I pay the bills type of situation. And even those people have to invest well and put their money in the right places to make sure that they're able to purchase a home, have reliable transportation, and retire when it's time. A lot of people are unable to retire. And I know the people in my generation, we're mid-40s and we're wanting to retire at some point, right? We've got to make these changes now so that we're able to not go back into the workforce after we are of age to retire. So insurance helps protect against much larger financial losses. And when families have both, they're often in a stronger position to weather life surprises. So again, life is happening every day. As we say, life is lifing, things are happening, but being able to recover quicker, to handle the things that we need to handle, is always a benefit. All right. So have any of you started an emergency fund? Do any of you have savings goals? So me being here and learning all of these new things that were not taught to me when I was younger, that maybe my parents didn't understand fully, right? Or they were just trying to manage themselves. And now they don't, now I'm trying to figure it all out, right? So my savings goal would be to have at least a year of my expenses in an account that can grow, but also that if something in life happens, as we know it does, that I have the ability to take the time off needed, again, whether it be health related, whether it just be family related, whether it be whatever it is, that I'm able to say, you know what, I need to take a break without rooting everything that I have going on or becoming, financially strained. So that is one of the goals that I had a fund that's been depleted. Now I want to pay down debt in addition to creating a new fund. Exactly. And if we do those things in a manner in which we're not overextending ourselves, but that we're putting a solid amount that we know we can put in there, even if it's just, how much do I spend every month on food out? I'm going to take all, because all those are extra. If you're already buying groceries, you don't necessarily need to buy anything out. So if you were to do that, then, or you give yourself an amount, like the mortgage lender, Jared, was on, and he said that he was going to DoorDash and all these things so much, it was just ridiculous. So he gave himself that he could do it once a month. But the more he got into the habit, and the more we get into the habit of cooking at home and preparing meals to take if we go into work and all of those things, it becomes a habit. And maybe you look up like he did, and 3 months had gone by and he hadn't even used DoorDash, right? So if we just start paying more attention to how we're spending our money and where it's spent, just small changes would help tremendously for us all. So what's the biggest emergency you've had financially? So I've had a couple, of course, being out of work, full-time regular work for the last 2 years has been and unexpectedly initially, right? And then I've had to make things happen and figure out why I am in this space and take the time to learn a lesson within it, because there's lessons in everything that happens. So of course, job loss is a big thing. Cars, needing to be repaired. You can go one day and you're like, I just need to get an oil change, and they tell you need all this work on your car, and then your car starts tripping, right after that. So these things are happening, and those are those big emergencies. And if you're in a home and you're a homeowner, especially, of course, when you're renting, you could have an emergency, but typically there's somebody else responsible. But when you're in a home and you're a homeowner, anything that happens in that house is your responsibility. So the hot water heater goes out, you, right? The air conditioner stops working, you, right? Your refrigerator anything that happens in your house is on you. And so we need to make sure that, again, we're putting ourselves in a position because those things happen. Being unemployed has helped me see how much wasteful spending I do. Oh, absolutely. I have learned in this time just the overconsumption of things. We got 2 or 3 blenders. We got, it's just, even if it's a small $20 purchase, it's like those $20 add up, and they can either be adding up your savings or adding up in your debt. Which one would you rather? And we definitely have to consider that. And sometimes we're moving so fast, it's just like, I got to go. I got to buy my food. I'm going to buy some coffee. I'm going to, go. But when we sit back and actually look at what are we spending? Do I even need these things? And most of the time we really could do a lot more at home and just not consume so much. Because we do. We are over consumers in this world. We got to have everything. COVID did not help, because I think it also created a little bit of hoarding. Like, I'm going to have all the tissue because if something else happens, I'm not going to be in that store, in no line and all this trying to get the last roll of tissue on the aisle. You know what I mean? So we also have to slow down on that part, because at the end of the day, it's not that deep. So I want to leave you guys with a couple thoughts. Building wealth isn't only about earning more. Now, can we save more if we earn more? Yes, we should be able to. But the problem is, a lot of times we overextend with our salary. Because I make $10,000 a month, I'm going to spend $9,999 this month. And we don't need to. It's just too much. It's too much. It's about becoming financially prepared. And every dollar you intentionally save today is one less dollar you'll have to borrow tomorrow. Yes. So again, start with the $20. Start with the $10. Start with $5. Whatever it is that you can do weekly and monthly to help you, let's do it. Right? Your emergency fund isn't just money in a bank account. It literally has a place. And when I talked to our mortgage lender, Yvonne, earlier today, she did a presentation and she was talking about wealthy people. If you ask a wealthy person how much is their car interest rate and how much, they know where their money is going. A lot of times with us, the rest of us who are not already wealthy, inshallah, we will all be wealthy soon, right? Because we're going to work together every week to get us where we're trying to go. But a lot of times we have no idea. $5 here, $10 here. I don't know what that, I mean, I've sat down with people and done budgets and asked them what their interest rate is on things. And they're like, I'm going to have to go to the documents. I have no idea, because we get what we need in that moment, and we don't consider the cost of those things. And then a lot of times it's not even getting what we need. We literally just buying stuff. So your emergency fund is about peace of mind, stability. It's protection for your family. It's one more step towards financial freedom. Again, if I had $10,000 in a savings account and my car broke down today, I would be inconvenienced, because I would have to take it to the shop and get it paid. But because I already have the money there, it's not an emergency. I have enough money in there that if I needed to rent a car or get a few Ubers while the car is in the shop, I'm able to do that. But if I have $0 and my car breaks down, it's a crisis. It's an emergency. You're stressed. You can't even, you know what I mean? It's just, so it's really about the peace of mind that being prepared for things helps with. When you are prepared, you're able to manage your day-to-day so much easier. So I would love to help you all build a financial plan that's right for your goals, specifically whether you're preparing to buy a home, paying off debt, protecting your family, or creating a stronger financial future. If tonight's discussion was helpful, please like, share, and invite someone to join us every Wednesday at 7 p.m. As I stated before, we're going to have plenty of guests that are going to talk about financial literacy. I have a special guest that is going to talk about building your business credit and assistance in helping entrepreneurs, self-employed individuals that need help understanding how to be funded and how to grow their business. So, financial education changes lives. And together we can help more families move towards faith, family, and freedom, which is the whole mission for me, is to help the families, right? So again, I want to thank you guys. I want to, encourage you to reach out to me if you have any specific questions about what we're going to try to do week to week. But let's get started. Let's get started on that 30-day plan from last week. And if you'd like, you can go back to the YouTube. I have it posted. Make sure that you share and subscribe to YouTube as well. It is the Baraka Blueprint with April Joy. Make sure that you subscribe, and you can watch all of these videos. So if you need to rewatch one from last week to see what we were discussing, or you want to see some of those special guest interviews, they are available to you. And this one will also be available. So let's start. $20 a week, guys. If all you have is $5, let's start there. But let's start today, building our future, creating wealth, and have the ability to leave generational wealth and legacy with our family. Thank you guys so much for joining. I look forward to seeing you guys tomorrow with Baraka the Muslima, where I share insight on life, love, family, growth, and understanding our day-to-day. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow. Good night.